All right, guys. Today we are going to be reacting to Myron Told X P-Star. Why men aren't marrying modern women. Let's jump in.
Looking at it like the juice just isn't worth the squeeze. I have to work 10 times harder to get a girl that's more ran through, that isn't going to respect me, doesn't respect masculinity in general.
I think what I see a lot now is like men just like totally giving up, taking their ball, going home and saying like, I don't want to have values or principles anymore because like women suck.
The problem is that like with feminism and other things is like women want the privileges and the benefits of chivalry and like the security of marriage and the sanctity of that, but they don't want to hold up their end of the bargain. Versus like for men, right? Like we have to do what we're supposed to do, and if we don't, we deal with consequences for it.
You have to be able to kind of evolve past that more primitive state and say, if I'm being attracted to like someone that has dark triad or who isn't going to be there for the goals that I have, which is like to start a family, long-term marriage, then maybe don't go after that guy. So instead we're kind of letting our biology make bad decisions for us. And you have
why the father and the brother were so important and arranged marriages were a thing, because you know, if you give women the ability to pick their own partners, you guys make really bad mistakes early on when your value is at its highest. And then by the time you're, you know, ready to settle down, your value's been depleted to a guy that might want it. That's why Virginia was such a big thing for so long.
Well, also though, it's kind of alluding to the fact that that didn't have issues as well, because there was a lot more violence against women back then too, with arranged marriages and before divorce was a thing, and you had master and head laws that up until the 70s like wasn't a thing as long as you were married to your right, like that's not okay. So we're pretending that like as long as like women are,
and I mean, sex is a duty for a woman to her man, and
it is a
Bible.
duty, but like, does any man want to have sex with someone who doesn't want to have like that? Like, how do you have forceful sex with someone and still want to do
yeah,
that?
I mean, we could definitely say that's messed up, but I think that's important to understand that, like, right, women don't really have to align with their duties as a wife, but men almost always have to align with their duties.
I think both should.
Yeah, for sure. But what I'm saying is that, like, okay, so the problem is that, like, with feminism and other things is, like, women want the privileges and the benefits of chivalry and, like, the security of marriage and the sanctity of that, but they don't want to hold up their end of the bargain.
Yo, shout out to Myron, man. Look at those white hair. He's really working hard, man. That's why he has a lot of white hair. He's working hard. I think he looks better like this, to be honest. Let me simp a little bit for Myron here. If you go back to his earliest videos, he didn't look like he was going through the trenches. Now he looks like he's going through the trenches. And I prefer this kind of Myron. It's a more stoic.
Versus like for men, right? Like we have to do what we're supposed to do. And if we don't, we deal with consequences for it. You know, women initiate most breakups, they initiate most divorces, etc. So, you know, if I'd say, you know what, I don't feel like paying the bills anymore. Like you would look at me like I'm crazy. But like when women say, well, I don't want to fuck my husband anymore, it's completely socially acceptable. Right. So, and this is a big reason actually why I tell guys like marriage nowadays with the marriage courts involved and getting married through the state isn't in your best interest, because you don't have leverage anymore. And when you don't have leverage over women, they behave very poorly, if I'm going to be honest.
What's the motivation in marriage?
For men or women?
For a man.
Honestly, dude, I mean, in today's day and age, you really don't get
anything, zero benefit through the state, right? Anything. Because remember, back then we had the ceremonial marriages just to make sure that the dad can pass on the female to the husband, the future husband. But that's to guarantee that they have family with the same guy, and the guy is the father. It's to secure family. To secure family. Now all that security is out of the window. You still have marriage. You still are married. 30% of men are raising kids that are not theirs by DNA. And still the court doesn't want to even favor men. Knowing the responsibility that goes there. And at that point, feminism destroyed the ceremony of marriage. Destroyed.
Benefit besides the title. You can get everything through a regular relationship. Now, again, I think you can marry religiously, and I think that's great, because having children out of wedlock's L. But to get the state involved, that's where I run into issues.
I do agree. I recently got married. It's for family. It's for moral tradition.
Yeah, of course.
It's for raising strong, honorable individuals. I told Allison.
Better for the kids.
Absolutely. And that's what it's all about. So I completely agree. The courts are broken. No fault divorce is broken. But I didn't get married for myself. I did it for my child, who's going to be here very soon.
Yeah.
Because I want them to grow up with strong moral tradition and understanding that there is duty and responsibility.
Agreed. And that's why I tell guys, if you're going to get married, do it religiously. Don't necessarily do it with the state or try to avoid the state, because the nuclear family with, you know, married parents is going to be significantly better. But what I'm trying to illustrate here is that, like, what I've realized with women is, like, there's more social acceptance.
Also, Tim got married. Tim got married outside the state. Shout out to him, man. Shout out to him.
Is for men.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, that's my yeah.
Well, it depends on like what parts are being breached. If we're talking about sex, that's something that's like so intimate, and then that will affect the relationship. Like if you force,
Well, most marriages are sexless.
right? And I don't think that's healthy. I don't think
Yeah.
that's okay. Like why are you in
Okay,
a
so let's go to the females and hold them accountable.
relationship then? So I think a lot of women.
But I think
do
that's the norm because women aren't really held to like a standard on their side when it comes to marriage obligations.
Yeah, it's confusing because I've heard it phrased kind of similarly, where a woman is tricking a man into monogamy, but really it's celibacy, right? So I'm like promising you monogamy, but then once we become in that monogamy,
Yo, let's just listen to that again. Wow.
because I've heard it phrased kind of similarly, where a woman is tricking a man into monogamy, but really it's celibacy, right? So I'm like promising you monogamy, but then once we become in that monogamous relationship, now you get like marital deathbed, and then
Wow,
what's
that's
the point?
crazy.
Because I mean, I don't want to sound like an asshole, but like, you know, a woman's main agency is her sexuality. So if she doesn't give
Yeah.
you that, then like,
It shouldn't be weaponized. I firmly like I hate when I see women of like, you don't do this, I'm not having sex with you. I don't think that that's healthy.
they leverage sex for compliance.
Right. I don't think that's
Yeah.
okay. But I'm saying like if a woman isn't having sex because like her body is telling her not to, like there's like some kind of reaction that she's getting, she's like it's not working, like nothing is getting lubricated, there's no arousal, she doesn't feel safe, then you have to look at like bigger issues within that relationship. So like what
She
is
got
there?
married to him, so safety should be.
Well, maybe, but people change too over time. So it comes back to like not doing your duty. So if you do have a man that's like not showing up, not
So it's still the man's fault. You see how she just brought it back to the man?
following through, not doing his end in whatever way that was agreed upon within that relationship, her body is going to say like unsafe, unpredictable, unreliable.
See?
There's only one way to deal with that, though.
Force.
No, not. No. Well, of course. I mean, that's not the way I was gonna say. This is why it's so important for men to like stay attractive and have
Yeah.
other options.
Yep.
Because women only respond favorably to men that have other
Options.
options that can replace her. Women behave the best when you can leave them.
I think we have a problem with dishonor. And I don't know, but a lot of the stuff that I hear, while I do agree and understand what you're saying, I hear a lot of guys who say things like men are disposable, and it's true.
Yeah.
From an evolutionary standpoint. But it's crazy to me that there are guys who are very, very selfish, like I should get what I want out of everything. And it's like, I don't know, the way I view this society is I do like the chivalry. I like the hero charging into battle, sacrificing himself for the greater good, for building something brilliant, planting trees whose shade he knows he will never sit beneath. And that is something that men need to accept. If you were a guy, life will be harder in a lot of ways. It's not going to be fair to you. You will be treated as disposable garbage. You will be insulted. And that is part of a man, being transformed from a wad of cookie dough into being carved out of stone. So all these guys out there that are like, it's not fair, stop being a weak little bitch. Life's never going to be fair to you. It's going to treat you like crap. It's going to throw you in the mud and spit in your face. And then you have to stand up and say, that's what being a guy is.
Yeah, and I think if a guy does, you know, traverse these obstacles, that their woman needs to follow their lead and be completely submissive and, you know.
Yeah, I like
this
how
is why I'm so
Myron-
big on like male leadership.
That was so good from Myron. That was so good from Myron. You see how Tim wanted to bring the conversation back to the center? You see how he wanted to bring it back to the center, but Myron cut that. And he said, no. But if he goes through all that, that's why the female has to submit to the guy. Because he went through that. Remember, you're supposed to slay the dragon. The sleeping beauty, right? She's sleeping. You're going to wake her up with your kiss. After you slay the dragon and climb the castle. You have to slay that dragon. With your shield and your sword. So when you get to that position, she's yours. Listen to this. She is yours. Now, that's mythology, right? But in reality, we have to create a system where females automatically have to tweak it twice to live in marriage. Otherwise, guys are not gonna get married, and our birth rate is gonna keep declining.
Like, I think anything where women are in the lead, it leads to problems. It's very problematic. And, you know,
Started more wars. Is that true?
what, women?
I heard that female leaders have started more wars than men.
Yeah,
Let
they're
me
more-
ask you.
I've heard that stat too. But I think the biggest thing is when it comes to relationships, because too many guys are like okay with letting their wife or their girlfriend run things, and you know that's like a Trojan horse to the end of the relationship because they're told you and your woman are equal partnerships, and that just sounds good on paper but doesn't work.
Yeah, Genghis Khan set his wife to be the administrator of the capital when he was on campaign. Like, she was a brilliant administrator. And I think one of the values of marriage through the legal system is you get to share money, and you can give her all your money to administrate.
I think that's bad.
So it says actually,
It takes a load off if you're a businessman.
No,
So
but then you will spend all that money like this guy.
interesting. Historically, through all of human history, men have started more wars. Why? Well, there's more male leaders. However, in
capita.
modern society, it's actually comparable. Women and men start wars at nearly the same rates. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I see your perspective. I think, I'm a big proponent of like separate bank accounts, your woman not having access to your money, because I think it could just be problematic. But what I've realized is this: when it comes to marriage and dealing with women nowadays, you got to come at it almost from like a defensive standpoint, where if she were to leave you or divorce you or whatever, you're mitigating as much risk and damage as possible, because the problem is that the family courts and the marriage system that we have nowadays incentivizes women to leave you, and they get rewarded for it. So I'm like, damn, if you're going to get in a business contract with someone that's incentivized to break it, like, that's not good on your end. So you need to hedge your bets and have things in place where you protect your assets.
This one matters for Western context. From 1480 to 1913, European queens were 27% more likely to engage in military conflict than kings.
Wow.
Elizabeth,
Well,
how
I'll
much
use
of it
that
was
my
Elizabeth?
stats now. Women suck as
Elizabeth-
leaders too.
oh,
Let's
yeah.
go.
Yep.
I knew it.
She was a beast.
She was a beast.
Yeah, she was an animal.
Because women always say women ran the world, it would be better, and I'm like,
Not the European ones, I guess.
yeah, I guess not. Yeah.
When it comes to like women upholding their,
But
their
no, we don't have to
aspect of
go
the social
that. We don't have to go that far away. Look at the Democratic Party. They want to start a war with Russia. They want to start a war with Russia. Remember that? Russia attack. We had to send a lot of more money. If that continue to be in a position where we had to just go against the Russian, we will do it. Like, these people were escalating the conflict on purpose, knowing that at the end of the day is men the one that has to just fight it. That's a good example.
contract. I feel like if a man follows through on his word and makes her like at least once a week, you ever have an unforgettable orgasm? I don't know if you guys, where it's like you still remember it, like that you should be doing to your wife. Weekly.
Nah.
And she will always
Well, that's
be
a
there
No.
Have sex in the first place, though.
No.
weekly, and she will always.
Well, that's
be there for
assuming
you.
like she wants to have sex in
Yep.
the first place, though. Which I think is the biggest problem, is that like women just like, I don't feel it anymore. You know what
Why
I mean?
you wanna do
And-
that,
and,
yeah?
and this is what I mean when I say like,
this
women's attraction is backwards. Like, the things that they're aroused by that they actually want, like, are almost detrimental to their long-term security. This is why like it's so important for the guy to just be attractive, keep his sexual market value high, and then have the potential to cheat on her. Am I saying go out and smash a bunch of chicks? No, but you definitely need to be capable of doing it, because
Yeah.
women only respond favorably to men that can replace them, unfortunately.
I've heard
And
that.
this is old school pickup artist terminology. Pre-selection. Pre-selection is one of the best attractions too that you always have in your belt.
So I'm interested how Candace views it. There's like a meme, and it's that women want to date a man who they feel could leave them at any moment for any woman, and they want a man who is nice to them, but they know he doesn't have to be. You know what I mean?
No, I would agree with all of that. And going back to, so I hate to say red pill because I think it's more black pill when you have like these nihilistic, like really angry dudes online. Like red pill to me seems like you're based in reality, right? You're not so emotionally charged, but it's this idea that they're not going to be respectful to women anymore. They're not going to be chivalrous because of feminism. So like you want to be treated equally, then now I'm going to treat you like a dude instead of like recognizing that we are vastly different creatures. So it's almost weird because it's like this horseshoe thing where we're going into liberalism where like there's no.
No. I don't like what she's doing, right? She's still playing in favor of feminism. You listen to her language. She still want to cater to females and just send the responsibility back to men. No.
Difference between men and women. Like, no, there are fundamental
Nah.
differences. And then if you kind of double down and go into the leadership position that a lot of these guys are saying, if you're a leader, you're not going to be influenced by, like, I hate to say the word, but like a subordinate or a submissive or someone that like you're supposed to be leading. You're going to be who you are regardless of that influence. So if you have these principles that are I'm going to open the door, I'm going to be respectful, I'm going to always operate as my highest self regardless of the other outside influences because those are my principles. I think what I see a lot now is like men just like totally giving up, taking their ball, going home and saying like I don't want to have values or principles anymore because like women suck.
MGTOW.
Well, because hello, lady, because there were some incentives. Men work based on incentives. If you don't give incentives to that guy that is opening the door, guess what? Here's how guys see the world. I'm opening the door, giving flowers, and doing all this stuff, but I'm not getting the rewards. Now, the other guy that's not doing none of those stuff, he's getting everything. What do you think the guys are going to do? See, these are the fake conservatives. A lot of people, I don't know if these conservatives, she's an XP, right? But she's just trying to play both sides of the game, both sides of the aisle. Nah. We're not doing that.
Not all women suck. There are plenty that do,
Sure.
and not all guys are great and principled
Sure.
either. So it's
See?
like, be the best
Bringing the
version
conversation
of yourself,
back
the
to zero.
strongest version of yourself. Be principled in your actions, regardless of like quote feminism.
Yeah, I mean, I think for a lot of guys, they're looking at it like the juice just isn't worth the squeeze.
There we
I
go.
have to work 10 times harder to get a girl that's more ran through, that isn't going to respect me, doesn't respect masculinity in general. So like for a lot of guys, that's why the passport movement is like blowing up, because guys are like, American women suck, which I'll be honest, they do. So I don't blame them for going to Colombia or these other countries where they have more traditional women, because guys have to work significantly harder for a woman that's a slut to obey them. I mean, I find it crazy how Juan can come in here from Mexico, right? Have no money, broke with like 3 kids, and his Mexican wife is more submissive to him than a man that has millions and has his Americanized wife in the household that's being a raging bitch. And again,
Damn.
you know, I think there's problems on the male side too, because men don't understand that they have a masculine burden of performance to be that guy.
Yeah.
But if you are that guy and you have your stuff together, simply put, most women don't qualify for marriage.
Yeah, and you're not secure. You're not secure. Let me know what you guys see in the comment section below. I'll see you in the next one.